The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hello and welcome to this Futuresource webinar. Thank you for joining us, and we are now ready to begin. I will hand you over to Simon Bryant, who's our Head of Consumer Electronics at Futuresource, who will introduce the proceedings.
Thank you, Andy. Hello and welcome to the first of our three-part webinar series at CES. We're on day 2 of the CES show. I'm Simon Bryant and I'm joined here in Las Vegas by Jack Wetherill. Jack heads up our work in home-based electronics, which covers displays, video, audio and networking devices. We chose 3 topics for our webinar series: 4K, audio and wearable tech. And based on our time with the show already, it is very clear that these are the 3 hottest areas at CES 2014. In terms of the volume of products announced, in terms of the vendor and media attention, and really where we're seeing the most significant innovations. Today's webinar is focused on probably the hottest of those areas, 4K, and Jack is going to provide you with our takeaways from the show and explain how we expect this to impact the prospects for 4K. Everything we are presenting today comes hot off the heels of the press events we've attended over the last few days and walking the exhibition floor and Jack's team asking difficult questions on the booths. As some of you will already know, Futuresource is a specialist research and consulting company with a history stretching back to the 1980s. We provide our clients with global market analysis and insights in consumer and professional electronics, digital imaging, entertainment media, broadcast and content, data storage, and we also operate on a global scale. We have a dedicated consumer electronics team which covers the worldwide market for all major home and personal CE categories, forecasting nearly 30 individual categories across nearly 30 countries across every major geographic region. In addition to detailed market data and forecasts, we provide strategic updates on relevant market segments, such as the topics covered by this webinar series. Before we delve into the detail, a little bit of housekeeping. Your phones have been muted, and we're condensing this session, and as we're condensing this session down to 20 minutes, we won't have time for questions. However, we are recording this session, and we will make it available to you next week. We can also take any questions you have offline and follow up with you later if you wish to learn more. If you are at CES, we'll also be happy to try and arrange a short meeting with you and one of our analysts. Anyway, without further ado, let's delve into the detail. Jack, over to you.
Thank you, Simon. Good morning, everybody. As anticipated, Ultra HD is a key theme here at CES 2014. At least 10 vendors have announced new sets. Several curved sets are on show, with one flexible. A range of screen sizes, generally 55 to 85 inches, but they go up to 105 inches, with, more interestingly, a 39-inch set mooted for year-end. On the show floor, differing approaches include HDMI 2.0 and HEVC, and we've seen yet more content announcements to help fuel uptake. In the next 15 minutes, I'll take you through the key ultra-high definition takeaways from CES and set them in the context of the US and global TV market. I'll also share with you our forecast for uptake. But before I dive into the detail of the announcements, let's take a moment to reflect on the main factors driving the launch of 4K TV. TV makers are keen to rejuvenate the TV market, which, as you can see from this chart, peaked in 2010, 2011, and is now on the slide. Globally, the market fell by 6% in 2012, and Futuresource estimates a 4% decline in 2013 to 97 million units. Growth in emerging markets has slowed, whilst demand in the US peaked in 2010 at 41 million and fell 6% in 2012, although in 2013 the market stabilized. Demand in Europe peaked at 67 million sets in 2011, followed by a 7% decline in 2012 and a forecast 6% decline in 2013. So we're looking at a combined US-European market of about 86 million units, down 5% on 2012. The growth, of course, up to 2012 was fueled by digital switchover, increased desire for additional sets in the home, a willingness to replace comparatively recently purchased CRT sets in favor of new stylish flat panels which take up less space. The arrival of tablets has also meant there's less demand now for sets in bedrooms. And since the flat panel market is saturated, the introduction of 3D and internet connected services has not yet proved enough to halt the slide. The arrival of tablets has also meant there is less demand for TV sets in bedrooms. So the brands have introduced 4K sets as a means of injecting new life into the market. The question is, will the introduction of ultra-high definition sets rejuvenate the market? Will they make consumers replace their existing sets and be prepared to pay a premium to upgrade to ultra-high definition? And if so, when? Well, before we tackle this, let's have a look at what sets have been available in the US in advance of CES. Immediately prior to the show, a range of sets was available from $500 to $40,000. In the high end, the 84-85-inch screen size, we have the early ultra-high definition models. Though prices for these large screen models have come down, they're still nothing like mass market and remain a very niche product. The focus has been on the key screen sizes of 55 inches and 65, where Sony and LG and Samsung and other Tier 1 brands have all similarly priced models costing $3,000 to $5,000 and directly competing at mass market CE retailers. All models are currently LCD, with OLED models not hitting the US streets despite being previewed here at the show last year. Seiki caused shockwaves mid-year by introducing sub-$1,000 models, and with TCL forms a price bracket of products that are scarily cheap for the Tier 1 brands. Despite their cheap pricing though, these have had relatively restricted distribution and have not made a great impact in terms of sales. But they do provide a reminder to the Tier 1 brands that they must not price their own products too highly. So that was before CES, but what are we seeing now at the show? We're seeing a raft of new products with at least a dozen brands involved, including LG, Sony, Samsung, Panasonic, Toshiba, Sharp, Vizio, RCA. More models, especially in the 55 to 58 to 85-inch category. Tier 1 brands generally going for HDMI 2.0 and including HEVC to ensure smooth streaming from Netflix 4K service, which is due later in the year. Not the case throughout though. For example, Panasonic are talking of excluding it from their smaller sets. And I was also told in a booth by Panasonic they're considering a 39-inch model by the year end. Brands remain very tight-lipped about their pricing, as they're all waiting upon one another to show their hand on pricing first. However, Vizio reportedly said that their smallest model, a 50-inch, will cost just under $1,000. Whilst there may not yet be a big force in US HD TV sales, the Chinese brands remain a threat as they supply the already impressively large market for ultra-high definition TVs in their domestic Chinese market. So have the economies of scale that other brands maybe do not. It seems that the Chinese are using low-cost ultra-high definition as a way of driving up their share here in the US, and this will likely drag down pricing as brands such as Samsung, Vizio, LG, Sony and Panasonic try to compete. As you can see from this chart, the global share of the TV market from Chinese brands such as Haier, Hisense, Skyworth and TCL is growing and will continue to do so. And one of the strategies that these Chinese companies are using could well be the cheap introduction of ultra-high definition models. But however, Samsung and LG, they account for a third of global TV marketing units, and their announcements at CES also indicate their determination to drive up the uptake of 4K. So, the vendors are all keen to sell the 4K sets, but is there any content out there for owners to watch? 4K content will have three main ways to reach the screens which have been bought by consumers. From the pay TV sector, 80 million US homes currently take an HD pay TV package. Via Blu-ray, there are 52 million Blu-ray homes in the US and 32 million in Western Europe. Or via online, over the top, whose theoretical reach is about 130 million US broadband households, a similar number in Western Europe. And around half of those households in the US, thanks to the emergence of HEV compression technology, will be able to stream 4K due to receiving a service of 15 megabits a second or above by the end of 2014. So where are we with content rollout via these delivery methods? Well, this crowded chart indicates how many services have recently emerged or are about to. Running from left to right, or first to last as it were, in years, we have Sony's media server, first made available last year. At this CES show, Samsung has announced a similar device which would come charged with movies. In both cases, these can be topped up from Sony and Samsung's respective online content stores as more content becomes available. Online services, YouTube and Netflix are frequently cited as likely front-runners in 4K delivery. The Netflix chief, Reed Hastings, appeared on both LG and Sony's press conferences to highlight this strategy, and noted series such as House of Cards and Breaking Bad, top TV series which were both captured in 4K, and Netflix will be offering these. Netflix has around 40 million global subscribers. Google is meanwhile demonstrating VP9 as an alternative means of compression to deliver 4K content via IP. Moving over to Blu-ray, well, that would be the natural home for Ultra HD in the same way as it has been for high-definition content, but it requires a new industry specification. This takes time to devise, and products are not expected until 2015. In the meantime, brands are rolling out 4K upscaling Blu-ray players. And then on the right-hand side, 2015, 2016, we refer to leading-edge pay TV companies such as DirecTV and Sky, likely candidates to roll out Ultra HD services in the near future. So content is emerging. It will continue to do so, and this will help drive up interest in Ultra HD sets. But what about the consumer? Is there appetite for 4K? How quickly will it catch on? Well, what can we learn from history? These things take time. It's easy to forget that HD is still being rolled out even 9 years on. Whilst over 80% of US homes have the screens, only half are receiving HD broadcasts. Futuresource believes that the uptake of 4K sets will take even longer to achieve these ownership levels than we see here for high definition. And if we overlay the situation in Western Europe, sorry for the delay, the slide has just paused a moment. Yes, here we are. You can see here the HD uptake in Western Europe mapped with the US. We see that similar proportions own an HD set in Europe, but an even lower proportion receives an HD signal. So this tells us, perhaps, that the availability of 4K content isn't a make or break for the uptake of ultra-high definition sets in the early years. And with ultra-high definition TV set vendors stressing the benefits of their upscaling features, it's clear that other factors, mostly price and screen size, will dictate the level and speed to which ultra-high definition TV sets are adopted. Benefits of Ultra HD are generally noticed on larger screens, and a factor playing into the hands of 4K is growth in average screen size deployed in the home. The high-definition TV market is already trending towards larger screen sizes, with 11% of the European market in 2011 being 45-inch and above, rising through 15% this year to a quarter of the market by 2017. And of course the US goes for even bigger screen sizes. An estimated 43% of TVs in the US market will be 45-inch and higher by 2017. From the consumer perspective, screen size is key. Here we're looking at sales of TVs by screen size, and to highlight that screen size varies considerably by country, so 4K uptake will likely do so also. The real opportunity is 50-inch and above, where sales represent 23% in the US, but less than 10% in most markets. Besides screen size, I mentioned that the other key factor in the adoption of UHD sets will be price. As the delta between HD and 3D sets narrowed, the adoption of high definition grew, even though households didn't have an HD feed for their display. It will be a long time before ultra-high definition prices are in line with 1080p, but the gap will narrow and the people will increasingly gravitate away from 1080p sets to Ultra HD. So here is Futuresource's projection for the sales of Ultra HD TVs. Futuresource expects 5% of global TV sales to be Ultra HD this year, rising to 8% next year, 2015 that is. In the US, shipments approaching 1 million units are expected in 2014, doubling to 1.8 million units in 2015. This assumes a relatively slow rollout of 4K content, leaving the main selling point in the short to mid-term being the upscaling capability of the sets. Uptake could be faster if content becomes available more quickly and prices fall even more rapidly. Okay, so to sum up, ultra-high definition sets are a hot theme at CES with numerous unveilings this time. The vast majority of sets are 55 inches or above, but hints of smaller models and many large options available. HDMI 2.0 and HEVC are being increasingly, but not universally deployed. Content announcements are helping drive up interest in the sets. Chinese brands are ensuring that prices are brought down more quickly than Tier 1 brands would like. And nearly 11 million sets will sell globally this year. The message is Ultra HD is here to stay. Okay, well that completes this webinar on ultra high definition. Thanks for tuning in. If you have any questions, please email them to me or to Simon Bryant, and we'd be glad to get back to you. But please forgive us if this doesn't happen immediately. Please wait for any responses until after CES has ended. We'll be running another webinar tomorrow on home audio, particularly focusing on wireless speakers and soundbars. And also on Friday, we'll be doing a webinar on wearable technology. So it'd be great if you can join us for those as well. Okay, everybody, have a good day, and thanks very much for listening.